All right, with winter upon us, it's deep into the whoop season, and today we're going to talk about what things in Betaflight don't work in angle mode. So the first thing on our list is the rates. The pitch and roll rates do not work in angle mode. So as you can see up here, we have our pitch and roll rates. Our yaw rates do work in angle mode, however. So on my screen here, I have my pitch and roll rates set up. I have two different rate profiles here, one for when I'm in angle mode, one for when I'm outside. In angle mode here, that's rate number 2. You can see my pitch and roll rates are kind of just there. I just have it 1 and 0 and 0. But the yaw rate does have an impact. So whenever you're setting things up for your rates, just make sure that you're not fiddling around with pitch and roll and thinking it's having an impact when you're in angle mode. To adjust your feel on angle mode, you want to focus here on your angle strength, this value right here. And angle mode works where it's reading the accelerometer, which knows which way is down, and then it knows what you're pushing your stick forward to be, or left or right. And it's using those two things. This angle limit, it's essentially a P gain strength for you pushing it forward. Think of it like a rubber band. The higher this number is, that means the rubber band has more tension. It's a stronger, stiffer rubber band. The lower this number, the rubber band is more weak. Either way, it's rubber banding you back to center position when you let go of the stick. Again, the higher the number, the faster it rubber bands you back. The lower the number, the softer and smoother it's going to rubber band you back. The range goes anywhere from 0 to 255, so have fun with it. Another factor is the angle limit, so that it basically adjusts how far the quad can tip forward. It will hit that limit and won't let it go beyond that. So obviously that's going to have an impact on how fast forward flight you're going to be able to sustain, things of that nature. So between the two, the angle strength and the angle limit. Then obviously the horizon strength is the same thing as the angle strength for the rubber band elasticity. And the transition is basically where it's going to flip from kind of an angle mode into acro mode with horizon. It will allow you to do full rate rolls. That would be at 80 degrees in this example. So once you get 80 degrees, it's going to flip into acro mode and allow you to do full rate rotations. The next up is feed forward. Feed forward does not work in angle mode, so it's pretty straightforward. You can put in whatever numbers you want here. It doesn't really matter. Feed forward is not going to be active in angle mode as it is right now. Do have a test branch on that. It might be something coming in the future, but as of right now, no feed forward in angle mode. That also, of course, impacts feed forward transition. These two go hand in hand. So no feed forward transition. If you're wondering what feed forward transition does, I'll make a link to a video on the upper right hand corner. Check that out. We talk about all these things on the screen here and what they do and break it down. Next is absolute control. Absolute control does also not work in angle mode. So it doesn't matter what you put in there from 0 to 20. In angle mode, absolute control is not functioning. Along with that is integrated yaw. If you look in the instructions of integrated yaw, it talks about having to have absolute control enabled to work with integrated yaw. So no absolute control means no integrated yaw. And finally, I-term relax. Now, technically, I-term relax does work in angle mode, but not in any meaningful way. If you turn on I-term relax and go into black box here, and then turn on I-term relax for debug mode, and then do a bunch of logs with I-term relax, even a cutoff at 10 or lower, you'll see it really just doesn't activate. I did a number of flights with this. Obviously in angle mode, straight up angle mode, you're not able to do full flips and rolls. Now if you're in horizon mode, that will change. Then it would have a function. When you do a full flip or a roll, I-term relax would have more of a function in rate mode for that fast flip. But in angle mode, where you have those angle limits and you're not really going beyond that, even if you move the sticks real quick or bumping into things, if you log it and look at it, you'll see that it's not really active, even with lower cutoff settings. In my last video at the very end, we talked about having lower I gain settings to deal with when you're hitting things so that I term doesn't wind up as much and kind of cause it to oscillate a little longer and take a little bit longer to recover when you're hitting the couch or other things. One method to deal with I term windup is just have really low I gains. Another method is to go into the CLI and type get I term, and right down here there's this I term limit. The default on this is 400. I'm going to go ahead and set that to 10. So 400 translates to 40%, and 100, of course, will translate to 10%. Now you can see in this logger here, we have roll, pitch, and yaw. So we have the set point is green. We have the gyro is this blue. Then we have the P term is red, and the I term is cyan. Now with this, you can see I hit something here. I brushed up against it. And with that I term limit set to 100, that essentially means it will not let the I term grow above 10% here. And in that case, that's exactly what I want. You have the I term winding up because I brushed up against something here and it's pushing the gyro off the set point. It's pushing the quad. It's not tracking the set point because I hit something, so it's pushing the quad down and I didn't move my sticks. So I want the P term to push that back, to get that back into order. And you can see the P term grows in a big way right here to bring the quad back, but my I term starts to wind up. And what you can see, the downside, the ramification of that, now my I term's wound up. Once my gyro gets back to the set point here, it actually shoots above the set point and is tracking high. Well, why is that? Because the I term is way up here. So I don't want the I term to do this behavior. And if you have a lower gain, it would mean the I term would have less influence here, but still it's doing it. This is with I term of 25, 25. So another method to looking at this is to limit that so it can't go above 10%, or maybe it's lower for you. Essentially, you want to go through a nice full flight, and if you have logging available to you, you look without hitting anything, what's your maximum I term, and then you set that I term limit just right above that. And then obviously when you hit anything, it's not going to go above that limit. Another way to do it is just by feel. A lot of these whoops don't have I term limits. So you could start at 100, maybe go down to 50, so on and so forth, and see how it is. Maybe it needs to be 20, maybe you like 50, maybe you like, just play with it. It's indoors, it's not cold out, so just run a bunch of different settings, see how you like it. But take a look at setting your I term limit there and seeing how you like that for helping you recover. And then more importantly, after you recover, so you're not, you have this weird feeling sometimes after you recover, even though your stick center, the quad's like going off to the side. Well, that could be that I term windup, kind of holding your quad off to the side, even though your sticks are telling it to be in the center, until it calms down and brings it back down. The other factor that could be there if you have a big crash is your accelerometer gets thrown off a little bit. It kind of varies. It's between those two things though, definitely. Okay, that is it. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, what works and what doesn't work in angle mode. Now, if you're running whoops inside and in rate mode, then of course all these things work. It's only in angle mode that they don't. A lot of reason why some of these things don't work could just be because angle mode's kind of viewed as the beginner's kind of a thing where you don't need all this advanced stuff. But when it comes to whoops, I find I know for sure, definitely, some of the top racers are winning, high competitive races with angle mode for whoops. I know I really like it a lot better. It seems to make it much easier and it recovers a lot faster to impacts and things of that nature. So if you're not flying your whoops inside in angle mode because of the stigma, just let that stigma go. Don't worry about what other people think. Just fly what works best for you. Again, angle mode works the best for me. You just got to keep in mind and not get off track by adjusting some of these settings and thinking that it's making an impact on the flight performance, because it's definitely not. Thanks everybody, and I hope this helped.